We are going to start with the topic. Today's topic is water. Okay, so water. This is the only topic which where you will not study about the preparation because already it is available in plenty. Okay, only thing you have to use it very preciously, but you need not to prepare. Till now, it is not a requirement to how to prepare water. That's why preparation method is not there. Okay, properties are also most easy. Okay, so just I will give an idea about the water, and main topic we are going to discuss is about the hard water. Okay, in that hard water also, what you have to do, you have to do focus on the hardness of the water. Okay, numerical part we will be covering more, and theory part I will be giving you notes. With that notes you should read and understand, and if any doubts you can ask me anytime. Okay, so let us start with our class. Hard water. Okay, so water preparation method is not required because water is already available. Okay, now let us start with the structure and properties. Okay, so in the water structure of the water is because of the sp3 hybridization. Because of which hybridization? Sp3 hybridization, two lone pair, two bond pair. Because of the sp3 hybridization, two lone pair and two bond pair, there are structure of the water. In options you will get any of the three of words. Okay, how many options will be there? These three words may you may find in the options. What are those? First one can be, it can be v shape. What it can be? V shape. Otherwise, instead of that, they can use a word called as bent shape. What they can call it as? Bent shape. Okay, sometimes it is also called as angular shape. Okay, so shape of water is V shape, bent, or angular shape. V shape, bent, or angular shape. These are the shapes of the water. Is it understood? As why it is, reason is sp3 hybridization, two lone pair and two bond pair. As per this hybridization, it is supposed to be tetrahedral in structure, but due to the presence of two lone pair, that place is eliminated, left over only for the two bond pairs. That will give you the V shape. Okay, but main problem is ice. If the question is about the ice, okay, so you should not write this one. In ice, it assumes cage-like structure. What structure? Cage-like structure. Okay, if the question is about what is the shape of water, then what you will write there? You will write bent or V or angular. But if the question is about the same water but in the ice is asking, then what you will write? Cage like structure. Okay, in cage like structure, each water molecule is connected to four other water molecule through the intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Through which bonding? Through the intermolecular hydrogen bonding it is attached with. Okay, so because of that, number of two bonds will be covalent bonds. That means each oxygen is connected to how many hydrogens? Four hydrogens. Okay, so out of the four hydrogens, out of the four hydrogens, two hydrogen will be through the covalent bond, remaining two hydrogen will be through the hydrogen bond. Okay, so four hydrogens, number of hydrogen attached with each oxygen will be four, but the type of bonds will be different. Two will be with covalent bond, two will be with the hydrogen bond. Is it understood, students? Okay, so after this, then this is about the structure of water. Okay, water is amphoteric in nature. What is water? Water is amphoteric in nature. Okay, why it is amphoteric? Because of the presence of H plus, it is acid, and because of presence of OH minus, it is base. Because of presence of both, then it is a amphoteric in nature. Okay, basic nature of water is due to presence of hydroxyl group. Which group? Hydroxyl group. Okay, so hydroxyl group makes it possible to act as a base, and presence of H plus, that is proton, will make it possible to act as a acid, but both are collectively available. That's why it is a That's why it is amphoteric in nature. Water is amphoteric in nature due to presence of both H plus and OH minus. Is it understood, students? So then this is about the structure and properties of water. But due to the presence of some impurities, okay. So there is one doubt by the student. What is the doubt? Hydronium ion. What is the difference between hydronium ion and H plus? Okay. So if only H plus is available, then it is called proton. But proton cannot assume so much of charge on its small place. In its small place, it is not able to accommodate. It is not able to accommodate so much of charge. Therefore, what it will do? It will assume. It will combine with one more water molecule to form hydronium ion. Okay. So which is more stable? H plus or H3O plus? Hydronium ion is H3O plus. Okay. So this is just when one H plus molecule combine with H2O, then it will become as a H3O plus. What it will become as? H3O plus. Okay. Okay. Any other doubts? Okay. Now let us come back to the water is amphoteric in nature. Is it understood? And it is a universal solvent because of it is a universal solvent because of high dielectric constant. What is the reason? Due to the high dielectric constant. Okay. Because of the high dielectric constant, water is a universal solvent. Okay. They are the main properties of the water. Rest all you can just read and understand. Okay. Now coming to the hardness of water. Okay, what is the hardness of the water? What is hard water and what is soft water? Okay, so soft water and hard water difference lies. Okay, so hard water or soft water, that is identified with the help of the soap. If soap dissolves and it forms lather, then it is a soft water. If soap is not able to dissolve, it is precipitated. If it is soap is precipitated, then it is called as hard water. Okay, it is not able to produce lather. If some water is not able to produce lather and it get scum, it forms as a scum, it forms precipitate, then it is called hard water. Okay, so that is the hard water definition. Now what is the cause of hardness? Hardness of the water due to presence of two people. What are those two people? Calcium salts. Okay, so calcium salts and magnesium salts. Okay, calcium salt and magnesium salt, except two salts of the calcium and magnesium. Okay, all salts will not produce hardness, will not cause hardness. Okay, suppose calcium chloride, it will cause hardness. Magnesium sulfate, it will cause hardness. If a given water contains calcium nitrate, it will cause hardness. If a given salt contains magnesium phosphate, it will cause hardness. But the given water contains calcium carbonate, it does not cause hardness. If a given water contains magnesium bicarbonate, then it will not cause hardness. Okay. So it will, sorry, if bicarbonate is there, it will cause hardness. Understood? So then what you will do, that they all calcium and magnesium should be removed as their carbonate. Should be removed as their carbonate. Calcium carbonate, magnesium carbonate are insoluble salts. Therefore, this is a method. This property is used for separating hardness, separating the hardness and converting hard water to the soft water. Okay, and it is very difficult to digest hard water because of the reactivity. Okay, because of the reactivity, it is not possible, it is not drinkable, it is unfit for drinking. Okay, so that is because of the unreactivity. Okay, it will not allow us to digest the food when you add hard water. Okay, so to avoid that, before using the water, what you have to do, you have to convert it into the soft water. Okay, so for converting into soft water, Again, there are two types of hardness. Okay, permanent hardness and temporary hardness. What are the two reasons? Permanent hardness and temporary hardness. Okay, so temporary hardness is said to be when there is a bicarbonate hardness. Okay, when it is other than the bicarbonate, then it is called non-carbonate or permanent hardness. Okay, so but basically this type of naming was given earlier. This type of naming was given earlier. Okay, why? Because that time there was no method to remove permanent hardness. Now it is not permanent. Now methods are there to remove the permanent hardness also. The methods are there to remove the permanent hardness also. Earlier it was permanent hardness and temporary hardness. Okay, so, but nowadays there are methods used for removing permanent hardness. There are methods used for temporary hardness. There are certain methods which removes both permanent and temporary hardness. Okay. So that methods of removal of hardness is further divided into how many methods? Three methods. For temporary hardness some method, for permanent hardness some method, and for both some other method. Is it understood, students? So we are going to study about we are going to concentrate on this topic. Okay. Now I will start asking. You should start answering. Okay. Okay. Now these are the two methods used only for temporary hardness, boiling and Clark's method. Okay. So in boiling, what happens? This temporary hardness, what I told you, temporary hardness is due to presence of bicarbonate. Okay. So calcium bicarbonate, then it is calcium bicarbonate, then it is a temporary hardness. Okay. So but when it is heated, then this bicarbonate will be converted to carbonate and get it precipitated. Carbonate and get it precipitated. Okay. So because of that, the container cannot be used. Okay, the container in which it is heated will become unuseful. Okay, will become unuseful. So to avoid that, what we are doing, we are using the other method. Boiling method is good only, but only disadvantage is the container in which the given salts are heated. Given water, hard water is heated, will become unuseful. Okay, then there will be loss of heat for unnecessary reason. Okay, so first method is it understood? In boiling, when a bicarbonate salt is on heating, will convert it into carbonate. Okay, and in Clark's method, this is the best method, but there are certain precautions must be used. Very good. Clark's method is used. In this method, what we do, we just add some amount of quick lime. What we will add? Some amount of the quick lime. Okay, quick lime, that is calculated amount you should add. Okay, so when you add calculated amount of the calcium hydroxide. Okay, when you add calcium hydroxide in calculated amount, then it is converted to, suppose calcium bicarbonate is there. Okay, so it should not be extra in quantity. It should not be extra in quantity. Extra quantity will be highly dangerous. It is converted into, it converts into different parts. Okay, so that's why calculated amount of slaked lime, that is uh, CaOH whole twice. Okay, so then it will convert this bicarbonate into again same carbonate only. This is the Clark method. Okay, now we have completed the methods of removal of temporary hardness. Okay, now some let us see some methods to find out hardness, methods to remove permanent hardness. Okay, now listen carefully. Calgon process, this is one of the most important method. Okay, Calgon, actually the name full form of this is calcium gon. Calgon means Cal means calcium, GON means gon, GONE. Okay, that means in this method we are removing the specially, this method is meant for removing the calcium ion, for removing the calcium ions. Okay, so that's why this method is called as Calgon process. And there is another method called as sequestration. What it is called as? Sequestration. Okay, Sequestration means calcium will not be completely removed. Calcium will be available there only. Okay, but calcium will be there only, but it is rendered ineffective. Okay, what it is? Rendered ineffective. Okay, ineffective. That means whatever the calcium available, whatever the calcium available, that will be taken into the square bracket. If calcium is available inside the square bracket, it does not cause any hardness. Okay, so calcium is not removed here. In Calgon process, calcium is removed. Okay, and here calcium is there, but it will not cause any hardness. Okay, so such type of method is called as Calgon sequestration. The process of making a calcium into ineffective without removing it. It is still present in water only, but it will not cause any hardness. Okay, such method is called as sequestration. Very, very important point for the competition point of view. Okay, so next, coming to the exchange methods. Okay, so there are two types of exchanger. It is applicable for both. Okay, it is applicable for both. Okay, so the next method is to remove both permanent and temporary hardness. To remove both permanent and temporary hardness. Okay, so what is that permanent and temporary hardness removal method? Is first only cation exchanger. What is the first one? Cation exchanger. Okay, so cation exchanger, the method is, it is used to remove only cation. Okay, actually the definition, starting definition itself, I told you hardness is due to which ions? Calcium 2 plus and magnesium 2 plus. These two ions are causing the hardness. So they need to be exchanged. There is no problem with the sulfate, there is no problem with the nitrate. So cation exchanger is doing that part only. Okay. So but what it will do, it will exchange with sodium. Okay. So there what you will use? Sodium zeolite. Okay, Na2Z. Na2Z means zeolite. Zeolite is a aluminosilicate. What it is? Aluminosilicate. Okay, sodium zeolite, sodium aluminosilicate. So it will exchange the calcium 2 plus if present. Okay, where it is? It is in the water. Okay, where it is? It is in the zeolite. Okay, what is zeolite? Zeolite is a poly network, three-dimensional network of aluminum and silicon. Okay, so this will be exchanged. That means calcium available in water will go into the zeolite and sodium will come into the water. Now 2 moles of sodium that will come into the water. Now we start in the starting, what we have? We have the sodium. Okay, we have the sodium zeolite, but after reaction what we will get? Calcium zeolite. Okay, same is the case, if magnesium is present. Suppose if magnesium 2 plus is present in the solution or in the water as a hard water. Okay, then it will form magnesium zeolite. What it will form? Magnesium zeolite. When all the sodium present in the zeolite get replaced by the calcium or magnesium, then such zeolite is called as exhausted zeolite. What it is called as? Exhausted zeolite. Exhausted zeolite can be regenerated. So after some time, all sodium is replaced by calcium and magnesium. Okay, now calcium zeolite when treated with brine solution. What it is? Brine solution. Okay, so 2 moles of brine, then calcium will come here and sodium will go there. Understood? So what it is going to form? Na2Z. What it is going to form? Na2Z. That means again we are regaining our own zeolite. Understood? So that is the advantage of this method. It is less expensive. Once we purchase a zeolite, it can be reused again and again, and it can be used plenty of times. It can be used plenty of times. And what finally we are going to get? CaCl2. What we are going to get finally? CaCl2. Okay, so this we will obtain only if, this we will obtain only if, when we will obtain this, if chlorine, so calcium is available. If magnesium is available, then what you will get here? Magnesium chloride. Okay, so calcium and magnesium from the exhausted zeolite will be replaced by the sodium. Okay, this is the cation exchanger. Okay, this advantage is less complicated. This method is less complicated, but disadvantage is still it contains some salt, but all salt will be of what? Calcium and magnesium. Sorry, all salt will be consisting of sodium ions. Okay, so the drinking water will contain some quantity of sodium. It is not completely purified. So for that, if you want our no metal should be available, then we will use. Then what we will use? We will use a exchanger. Okay, both cation and anionic exchanger. Okay, so normal exchanger, inorganic, organic exchanger will contain two parts. Okay, so it will contain cationic exchanger as well as anionic exchanger. Okay, cationic exchanger is called as acidic resin. What it is called as? Acidic resin. Okay, it is called as acidic resin, and anionic resin is called as basic resin. Okay, so here in place of the zeolite we are using a word called as resin. Here it is also a polymeric network. Here it is also a polymeric network only, but in place of the sodium, here what we are going to have? We are going to have H plus. Okay, so calcium 2 plus and magnesium 2 plus, both are replaced by the hydrogen. Okay, so that's why this is very difficult task. This is very difficult task, because after this what we are going to get? We are going to get acid, because calcium and magnesium are now replaced by what? H plus. Okay, so this acid, so immediately it should be followed by the basic resin. So acid plus base, again you will get water. Okay, so the water obtained here, the water obtained in this method is completely pure. The water obtained in this method is completely pure. It does not contain any impurities like sodium in the previous method. In the previous method, that cation exchanger will still contain some impurities, but here there is no such impurities. Okay, all impurities will be removed, and cation will be replaced with, cation will be replaced with what? Very good. Cation will be replaced with H plus, and anion will be replaced with OH minus. So it is called as a demineralized water. What water? Demineralized water. Okay. Okay, now we are starting with the very important and tough topic, hardness of water. How to determine hardness of water. Okay. Now all of you directly join the YouTube for the sulfuric acid class. Okay. Bye.